Or possibly there is a hidden agenda, meaning something that is hidden in him, that he is doing this action for other than Allah. Right? Perhaps something is hidden in him that is very minute. Right? That is very, very minute. That are you trying to please Allah, or there is someone else that you are trying to please? Right? It could be very small, very, very minute. Who is it that you're trying to please? طيب. Is it something that is hidden in him, in that action لغير الله, for other than Allah? نعم ويخفى عليها العمل لغير الله. So he will be hiding the action to other than Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. That shows the sincerity for the action. He will be hiding the action to other than Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Now hiding your action, your righteous actions, that shows the ikhlas that the person has. That shows the ikhlas that the person has. Hiding your action. Nah. Right, it shows really that you're doing this for the sake of Allah alone. You're not doing showing off to anybody or pleasing anybody. Something that you do, while you're alone. There is nobody around you. It's different from something you do while you have 100,000 people in front of you. Right? It's just like when a person, he is by himself practicing. Right? Whether, whatever sports he do, he's there practicing, right? Now he practiced very hard. It's different from when there's, how many people will be on the field, on the stadium? Many. Let's say many. Right? He playing like in front of many, right? He might not be as hard as he will be in the practice by himself. But you see, for instance, a player that he's hard when he practices. That really show how he is desiring this thing, how he wants this thing, right? But anybody, you hear a lot of people screaming your name, right? You hear thousands of people screaming your name. I mean, you put anybody in there, they will try a little harder, right? Now, I'm here another important point that barakallahu fikum. He say, فبقدر ما يخفى عليها ذلك يثقل عليها العمل لله تبارك وتعالى حتى يصير أثقل شيء عليها. He mentioned حفظه الله. He say, now how much that the person is hiding that action, right? As much as the person hide that action, meaning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only, he say, the heavier it is, the more the hidden it is, the more heavier it is. More hidden it is, more heavier it is. Meaning in regard to the reward of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. He say, the more he kept it hidden, the more it will be barakallahu fikum heavier in the scales with Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Right? So the action, the more sincere it is to Allah, the more heavier it is. right? The more heavier it is. And we all remember, barakallah fikum, the verse when we were dealing with the issue of udhiyah. It is not the meat or it is not the flesh nor the blood that barakallah fikum that will reach Allah. Lan yanala Allah luhumuha wala dima'uha. That it is not that the flesh nor the blood that reach Allah Ta'ala. What? But rather yanaluhu ash at-taqwa minkum. The belief that is in your heart. So the person, barakallah fikum, can buy a sheep that costs maybe only $150 or $100 or $75. Right? But his intention, barakallah fikum, is not like the individual that bought a sheep that costs maybe about $1,000. But he's doing it to brag about it. You understand? الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الْحَرَامِ. Those who are consuming haram. Right? What does he mean by consuming haram, Aba Munira? Huh? Right? Those who receive riba. What else? That mean consuming haram. Eating what is haram. Right? As far as food and drink, right? Okay, what else? Very good. Your kasab. Your gain, what you gain, right? Your gain, meaning how you get your wealth, for instance, that goes into what? Consuming haram. Whether what you eat or how you gain your wealth, right? If it is haram. Now here it is important. Why does Shaykh mention this though? Why? Because of the other point where he mentioned here, khawfan min taghayyuri dunyahu, fearing about his shift in his worldly life, fearing that if I abandon this, then I'm gonna be broke. Fearing that if I don't sell knockoff no more, I will not make it anymore. I won't feed my family no more. No, real talk though, right? Or fearing that, well, if I don't get a student loan, I'm not gonna make it, right? You think that you have to have a student loan to make it. Or you think that you have to be selling these, right? Whatever it is that is not permissible to sell, that you ain't going to make it. Or I got to have this job or this shop or that, selling this or selling that. That is not permissible and you know it. But you fear that if you abandon it, it's going to change your course of life. Your livelihood. It will change you fear that for the change. And I remember, rahimahullah, our brother, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open the gates of the Jannah for him. When he say he'd rather be patient with $1 here, $2 there, than selling that which is haram. Than selling that which is not permissible to sell. He'd rather be patient with going home with a few dollars than going home with thousands of dollars into something that is purely haram. So, الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الْحَرَامِ, those who they consume haram, whether it is from their means of sustenance, whether it is what they eat or what they drink, whether what they, how they, buying homes in mortgages and the likes of this. And don't listen to those individuals trying to convince you that it is permissible to buy a house upon the riba. Akhi, riba is haram. It is haram. It's not permissible. Unless they put a gun on your head, over your head and say, sign this contract. Right? And even if you're signing a contract upon that situation, why would you sign it? Why would you sign it? We studied this. If you fear for your life, that's the issue. Why? To remove yourself from the harm. Number 2. Huh? What did he say? What did you say? Fear for your life. That's to remove your harm away from you. Not to make you're not seeking to make the disbelievers happy. right? You're not trying to make the disbelievers happy, but rather you freeing yourself away from harm. You free yourself from harm. And while you're doing it, you are not trying to make them be happy, but rather you are coerced. You are being compelled to do the action. They force you to do this. So while you were doing it, you hated it, number one. You were doing it because you wanted to remove harm away from you. And number three is you're doing it because of what? Because you are not trying to please the disbelievers, make them happy. Right? So do not listen to anyone, barakallah, they'll tell you, oh, it's permissible to be upon mortgage and stuff like this, and why renting, if renting is like you throw in your money on the window. Right? What's the difference? There's no difference. If a person missed 2 payments, he's out of the house too, don't he?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how much you pay. And then, barakallah, it's important for the believers living in the lands of disbelievers to understand these things. Some of the kuffar don't even understand the harm that is in it, except those who instituted it, those who established it. Because think about this, subhanallah. You remember when the crisis happened, right? The housing crisis happened. You know what did they do? What did they do? They removed those high rate of interest. They removed the high rates of interest. So many people, start diving back. So that's how they build it back up until they know they have enough. So they went straight back to the 12% APR, 2% APR, things like this, right? But you have those individuals, you have to have a house, you have to, where you get this from? So, الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الْحَرَامَ, those who are consuming the haram. He say, لَا يَجِدُونَ طَمَعَ الْحَلَالِ. You will find them that they don't have no taste for something that is permissible. Subhanallah. And this is uquba. Right? You are so much into haram that you don't even want to have something halal no more. You don't have no taste for something halal. And that's not only food and drink, barakallah fikum. Right? The individual, he's making tons of money in this type of business. So much so that he doesn't, he's overwhelmed with the money. So he doesn't see something that is halal. He doesn't have a taste for the halal no more. But the second point that the Shaykh mentioned is even barakallah fikum scary. It's scarier, barakallah fikum. He say, وَلَا يُحِسُّونَ بِهِ. And they will not even feel it. They won't even feel it. There is no one, barakallah fikum, that have that which is not permissible, except that they will not make it in the long run. They won't make it in the long run. Yarhamukallah. This is why, barakallah fikum, for any, alhamdulillah, any from the believers, having any from the kasb or eating that which is not permissible, alhamdulillah, especially being upon knowledge. Being upon knowledge. And akhi, what Allah has declared haram is so tiny in comparison of what He has declared to be halal. Look at all the doors of rizq that Allah has opened, compared to those small things that Allah said, do not do it. Now we only want to see the don't do it. We think that we cannot make it without the don't do it. For us, if we don't do this and it is haram, we know it, right? Then we think that this is my life is and my akhirah is done. But rather he mentioned, and this is the uquba. This is the uquba. This is the uquba. And alhamdulillah, knowing that also the wealth that we feed our children, it has a great impact. It has a great impact in their conduct, in their mannerism. It has a great impact in their discipline also, barakallahu feek.